Be'ezrat Hashem, na'aseh v'natzliach. I want to welcome you to the Beacon Tower Lunch and Learn. Baruch Hashem, we see that we have here a chazakah. Already we're doing this for several weeks. I want to give a very special thank you to our gracious host, H&M Builders, and for Mendel Law, the two guys over here putting this together, making sure that the spreading Torah on a Tuesday afternoon when people are shopping or people are going home or people are going to restaurants. We have here a beautiful group of people coming here to learn Torah. Chazak Baruch. I also want to thank Hummus Factory for giving us a beautiful spread every single week, fresh food, delicious food. And I want to also thank the people that are here. The fact that you're here and you're supporting this class and you're supporting Divrei Torah during the week, and Be'ezrat Hashem, you get something like beautiful that you hear today that you can repeat on the Shabbat table in a few days from now. Okay, let's get started. This week's parasha is Parashat Kedoshim. Typically we read Acharei Mot Kedoshim. We spoke about it last week, but because of this year's leap year and this year's Pesach, they were separated, and we're going to catch up in a few weeks to the actual reading of Eretz Yisrael and the Gola. But this particular year, we happen to read Parashat Kedoshim on its own. And if you read Parashat Kedoshim, the first two Pesukim is the only thing we're going to learn today. Something very, very interesting. It starts off like this. Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe lemor. Daber el kol adat bnei Yisrael, v'amata alehem kedoshim tiyu, ki kadosh ani Adonai Elohechem. Hashem speaks to Moshe and he instructs him to talk to Am Yisrael. He says, Daber kol adat bnei Yisrael. Speak to all of Am Yisrael and tell them, Kedoshim tiyu, be holy. Hashem instructs us to be holy. Ki kadosh ani Hashem Elokechem. Because I am holy, Hashem your God. So this is very, very interesting because Hashem is commanding us to be holy. How is that possible? First, we have to dissect the pasuk a little bit in order to understand a little bit better. It says over here, Daber el kol adat bnei Yisrael. This is very unique. Speak to all of the nation of Am Yisrael. So typically, this is how it works. When Hashem talks to Moshe, and Moshe needs to give it over, needs to teach it over, there's a process. First, it starts with Moshe giving it to Aharon. And over there they talk about very high level Torah, very high level concepts, because Moshe and Aharon can connect, they can understand that explanation of what Hashem transmitted over. The next step, they called the children of Aharon to come over, and Moshe, Aharon, and the children learn together. And over there, they take the learning and they teach more halacha and more practical laws of how to do it. After that, they invite the zekenim, the elders. And then Moshe, Aharon, Aharon's children, and the zekenim sit and learn again. And they're learning together, they teach it over. And typically that's how, and each one is, the teaching is given according to the level of the people in the room. And after that, when we need to give it to Bnei Yisrael, HaKadosh Baruch Hu then Moshe instructs all of Bnei Yisrael to come, all the men to come, and Moshe, Aharon, his children, Zekenim, and Am Yisrael learn together. He teaches it over. So when HaKadosh Baruch Hu asks him to give something to Am Yisrael, it goes down on these levels. Here it's different. Here in Parashat Kedoshim, it's completely different. It says, Daber el kol adat bnei Yisrael. Kol adat, this distinction of kol adat, means the woman and the children, and right away. Why? Why would Hashem have to right now say kol adat bnei Yisrael? As a matter of fact, the last time that we saw something like that was where? Matan Torah. The last time that he said everybody needs to show up, including women and children, is when he gave us in the Shavuot, right? Vav Sivan, Matan Torah, that's when everybody showed up the same way. Why in Parashat Kedoshim he's asking the same thing? So you should you should know that this particular parasha has 70 mitzvot in it. Most of them are huge, fundamental Torah concepts. What we're going to learn in this week's parasha are some of the biggest Torah concepts that a Jew can learn. And that's why Kadosh Baruch Hu instructed everyone to show up in one shot, including the women and the children. And the common thread between all of these Torah concepts is the very, very basic of Ve'ahavta lereacha kamocha. To love your fellow Jew. Don't do unto others what you don't want to be done to yourself. The one concept that when somebody teaches you in 1 second, teach me the Torah. I want to understand the whole Torah on one leg. Like the famous story of Hillel. Ve'ahavta lereacha kamocha. Rabbi Akiva says, Ze klal gadol b'Torah. As a matter of fact, we just mentioned that one of the last time that something like this happened was during Matan Torah, the receiving of the Torah on Har Sinai. If you look closely, in this week's parasha, we have all the 10 commandments here too. For example, he says, there's a mitzvah that every man and every woman needs to be holy. Why should you be holy? Because Hashem is holy. Anochi Hashem Elokecha, right? The second commandment is that you shall have no other God. You're not allowed to have any other God besides Hashem. In this week's parasha, it tells us, do not make for yourself masechot, elilim. Same thing. On the third commandment, it says that you're not allowed to say Hashem's name in vain, right? In this week's parasha, it says, don't say my name and swear on a lie. Same thing. On the fourth commandment, it says to remember the Shabbat, to keep it. In this week's parasha, keep the Shabbat. On the fifth commandment, it says honor your father and your mother. In this week's parasha, it says honor your father and your mother. Meaning, even if they tell you not to keep Shabbat, you have to honor your father and your mother, and it connects it to you have to keep Shabbat. So like that, even if your parents tell you not to keep Shabbat, don't listen to them. Why? Because they have to keep Shabbat just like you. Because Hashem says to keep Shabbat, not just for you, but for your parents as well. So we see also the fifth one is there. The sixth commandment, you shall not murder. And it says over here, you shall. In this week's parasha, it says, you shall not stand by the blood of your fellow man. In this week's parasha, it's in the seventh commandment, you're not allowed to commit adultery. Over here it says that anyone who commits adultery should be put to death. The eighth commandment, you're not allowed to steal. In this week's parasha, also it says you shall not steal. The ninth commandment says you're not allowed to be false witness. In this week's parasha, it says don't speak sheker. Don't be one who says a talebearer. The 10th commandment says you're not allowed to covet. And it says over here you shall love your fellow man as yourself. The 10th commandment, the last one that you shall not covet, al tachmod. And this week's parasha is connected. So we see that the same way that we had the 10 commandments in Har Sinai and everybody was gathered, we see that in this week's parasha also all the concepts of the 10 commandments are there and everybody was gathered. But the end of it is v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Furthermore, when it talks on the pasuk, so we just said Daber kol adat bnei Israel, right? So we know why all the Jewish people had to show up. The next part of this pasuk is V'amarta alehem, and tell them Kedoshim tiyu ki kadosh ani Hashem Elokechem. He tells them that you need to be holy. Why do you need to be holy? Why do we need to be holy? Hashem says, because I am holy. What does that mean? So I found a few beautiful interpretations to this particular question. The most basic ones, the one that we always like to go to, is Rashi. What does Rashi say? What does Rashi say about you should be holy because I am holy? So Rashi says, when you guard yourself from promiscuity, from zima, it brings you to holiness. When you guard yourself from arayot, you become holy. And as a matter of fact, the connection that they make, Last week's parasha, Achrei Mot, how does it finish? It talks about all the things, all the relationships that are allowed and that are not allowed. The aunt, the uncle, the daughter, the sister, the animals. What relationships are allowed? Now, because it's so close to Parashat Kedoshim, Rashi learns from there, when you keep yourself out of promiscuity, when you have proper relationships, not improper relationships, it causes you to be holy, kadosh. And you have to understand that Hashem hates zima. One of the biggest turnoffs for a Kadosh Baruch Hu is when a person is doesn't keep himself, doesn't have a guard, doesn't protect himself from promiscuity. That's for men and for women. Another explanation is, it says, Kedushim tiyu. You should be holy. Why? Because I am holy. What does that mean? In other words, for example, I'm right now in the room and I'm looking around. And I'm saying, you know what? I want to be holy. But how holy do I want to be? I look at Judah, I look at Joseph, I look around, and I start to say, you know what? This guy's a little bit holier than me. No, you know what? I'm holier than him. You start to compare between this guy completely not holy. Oh, you know what? I'm good. 8 out of 10 people, I'm higher than them. Kedoshim to you, Kedosh Ani. Hashem says, no. Don't judge the people around you. Don't do your surroundings. When you want to compare yourself on how to be holy, Ki Kadosh Ani. Look at me. Because this is the level that you need to get. The same way that Hashem is holy, compare yourself to my holiness, not to the holiness of your environment. Why? Because it's very, very easy sometimes, like Noach, Tzadik Bedoro. You go around, you say, you know what, I'm living over here in the middle of nowhere. Nobody puts on tefillin, nobody even prays, keeps kosher. Look at me. I put on tefillin twice a week. I go to Chabad on Friday nights. Wallah, I'm a tzaddik. He says, no, don't judge yourself like that. He says, if you want to check the bar of how to be holy, Ki Kadosh Ani, the way that Hashem is holy. And where do we get that? Right now, we're in the Omer period. Right now, we're in the period where we are in character refinement mode. Right now, besides counting the days, which is, all the kids in school right now, they get super excited. Why? Because they're able to count the days. Omer is not just to see if you can count to 49. And then on the 50th day, Shavuot, let's go cheesecake. It doesn't work like that. The whole idea of the Omer, as adults, we have a different work. We have a different avodah. It's character refinement. What's character refinement? So there's a very, very high-level learning when it comes to Judaism called Kabbalah. And Kabbalah deals with Sefirot. Sefirot, I don't know if you ever saw the image of the Sefirot. It looks like 7 balls all in different positions, 3 on top, and each one has a different name on it. As a matter of fact, can you open up your phone to the message that I sent you? These Sefirot, these 10 emanations that they call it, is the way that Hashem runs the world. On a very simple level. I just took Kabbalah right now and simplified it to you as simple as I can. It's the way that Hashem runs the world. Each Sephirah, each one of these Sefirot, yes, is actually one of Hashem's characteristics. One of the way that Hashem runs the world. In other words, we have Chesed, we have Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchut. On the top we have the 3, Chokhmah, Binah, Dat, which is all together Malchut. What are these words? So I'll simplify it for you just a little bit so you can understand. Hashem runs the world with Chesed. The right side of the person's Chesed. What's Chesed? Chesed is kindness, love. That's one of the characters of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Another way that Hashem runs the world is to Gvura, strength, fear. Like complete opposite. Another way that Hashem runs the world is Tiferet. What's Tiferet? Tiferet is mercy, beauty. It's the combination of Chesed and Gvura in the middle. Half of this, half of that creates Tiferet. If you want a quick way of remembering, Avraham was Chesed. Yitzchak was Gvura. Yaakov was Tiferet. He was the combination. That's why the 12 tribes were able to come out of him. He was the perfect one. So Hashem runs the world with these 10 characteristics. 10 ways. Now, I'm sorry, not 10 ways, 7 different ways. The top 3 we don't count right now. So in the Omer, what do? We count. Chesed sheba chesed, gvura sheba chesed, tfira sheba chesed, tiferet sheba chesed. What is it? Each day we explore what is it to be beauty within beauty, strength within beauty, mercy within beauty. Each one, if you take the time during the Omer period and discover how you are connected to that different sefirah, then you get to discover yourself a little bit more. You start to emulate Hashem, because Hashem has chesed, Hashem has gvura, Hashem has tiferet, Hashem has netzach, Hashem has hod. So now when he tells you, Kedoshim tiyu ki kadosh ani, you say to yourself, how do I know you, Hashem? How do I know who you are? How do I know how you behave, how you act? Easy. It's the Omer. Every time you count the Omer, you get to discover God again and again and again. Every day you discover Him. Every day you discover a different side of Hashem. And the more you discover Him, you discover how you're supposed to be. So it says, when you need to be holy, there's no mistake that Parashat Kedoshim falls during the Omer. And there's no mistake that we're learning this concept during the Omer, exactly because Hashem says, when you're elevating yourself and going to a higher level, and you're preparing your human self to this holy feat of Matan Torah and Shavuot in just a few weeks, first discover yourself, find out who I am. And the way I am, be like me, emulate me. Through the Sefirot of the Omer, Ki Kadosh Ani. Furthermore, if you go to this week's parasha, you see this concept several times in several pesukim. The first pasuk that we just learned together, it says, Kedoshim tiyu ki kadosh ani Hashem Elokechem. He says, you know why you should feel that you can become holy? You know why? Kedoshim tiyu ki kadosh Hashem, ki kadosh ani Hashem Elokechem. What's running this machine? What's running this human body? What's making everything move? The neshama. Where's the neshama coming from? The neshama is a small little spark of a Kadosh Baruch Hu that He put in front of us. He put inside of us. And not only did He put inside of us, but He also put a very, very special neshama when you're a Jew, with special parts to it and special things that are available to it, just as a Jewish neshama. So He says, you know why I'm asking you to be holy? Because you have the potential to be holy. How do you have the potential to be holy? A part of me is in you. Because a holy, godly part of me is inside of you, that's why you can be holy. Don't think I gave you an impossible mission. It's a possible mission to be holy. Because deep down inside of you is that holy spark. You go a few more pesukim in the parasha, it says, Ushmartem et chukotai, v'asitem otam, ani Hashem mekadishchem. He says, and if you keep my laws, and you perform them, He says, I am Hashem who's going to make you holy. He says, and even now that I reveal to you that you have a holy spark inside of you. And now you're going to say, but how am I going to do it? Okay, I have a holy spark in me. I have the potential. It's like a kid when you go in school and the teacher tells you, your kid has a lot of potential. Okay, he has potential, but how does he become an A student? So Hashem tells you, Ushmartem et chukotai, when you keep my laws, v'asitem otam, and you perform them, ani Hashem mekadishchem, I'm going to make you holy. In other words, He tells you, you want to become holy like I instructed you? Start doing Torah, mitzvot, and maasim tovim. The minute you start to learn Torah, the minute you start to do mitzvot, the minute you start to do good deeds, maasim tovim, automatically you become holy. Hashem says, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to make you holy. Ani Hashem mekadishchem. Furthermore, if you go to another pasuk that uses the same type of terminology, it says, Veitim li kedoshim. It says, when you get to that level, when you're holy, Ki kadosh ani Hashem, because I am holy. Hashem always puts the stamp of Him being holy and how we're able to achieve it. Va'avdil etchem min ha'amim liyot li. And then I'm going to separate you from the rest of the nations to be for me. So we have here a three level process. One, Hashem tells us, you have the potential to be, He's asking us to be holy. But He's telling us you can be holy because you have the potential to be holy, because you have a holy spark inside of you. That holy spark is me. God Himself is inside of you. Secondly, He says, but if you feel that you have the potential, you don't know how to get there, I'm telling you, Veitem kedoshim, he says, Ushmartem et chokotai v'asitem, perform Torah, mitzvot, maasim tovim. That is your tool. Your tools to becoming holy, Torah, mitzvot, maasim tovim. And I am going to elevate you to be holy. And he says, and when you reach that level, where you take your potential and you use the tools and you become holy, what happens? Like oil and water, HaKadosh Baruch Hu separates us from the goyim, and he says, you are for me. You, the Jewish people, are for me. However, Hashem warns us not to act like the goyim. If you look in the parasha, so many times he tells us what not to do. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. So why is he telling us to be holy and then he's telling us not what to do? Because he says, if you do what I tell you, you're going to be holy, you get close to me, I'll elevate you. He wants us, it's our Father, he wants us to do good. If you clean up your room, I'll give you your candy. If you do your mitzvot, I'll buy you a toy. You know, what do we tell the kids? We try to get them motivated. Hashem is motivating us. He's telling us, no, do the right thing, do the Torah mitzvot maasim tovim, I'll make you holy, I'll make you mine. Could you imagine being God's children? The king, the children of a king? Who has it better than the king's child? They get everything. The king owns everything. He's in control of everything. And you're his child, his beloved child. He wants to do that for you. So he's telling you in the same parasha, okay, I told you I can make you holy, but he says, Al tifnu le'elilim, don't go to the idol worship. He says, don't go to the molech, don't give your children to the avodah zarah of molech. He says, lo tignevu, don't steal, lo teshakru, don't lie, lo teshavu b'shmi b'sheker, don't use my name in vain. Lo ta'ashok et re'echa, don't steal from your fellow man. Lo tekalel cheresh, don't curse. And cheresh is a mute. Ve'lifnei iver lo titen michshol, and in front of the blind don't put an obstacle, and so on and so on and so on, giving us so much instruction of what not to do. Because he says, if you're going to do that, you're going to be a goyim. How can I separate you? If you act like them, look like them, talk like them, behave like them, how can I make you mine? You're like them. He says, be different. Do Torah mitzvot maasim tovim, I'll separate you and you'll make me mine and you'll be holy. Now, between all these do's and don'ts in the parasha and everything that Hashem wants us to do to be holy, Veitem Kedoshim, in Perek Yutet, Pasuk Yudchet, it says on the second part of the pasuk, "Ve'ahavta le'recha kamocha ani Hashem." By the way, that word ani Hashem, I am God, I am God. You know how many times it's repeated in this parasha? Over and over and over and over again. Maybe I didn't count. I think last year I counted. I'm not sure if it was 15 or 20 times that it was ani Hashem, I am God. He doesn't have to say it. We know that these are Hashem rules. Why does he have to say I am God, I am God, I am God, I am God over and over? He says, because only God knows the heart of a person. And everything that I'm telling you, ani Hashem. Keep it or don't keep it, don't worry. I know if your heart is in the right place. And one of the times that he's giving it to us is, Ve'afta le'reacha kamocha. He says, and love your fellow man, and and you should don't do unto others what you don't want it to be done to yourself. Ani Hashem. I'll know if you're doing it the right way. I'll know if you're a real honest friend, if you're a good friend, if you're a good Jew. I am Hashem. I can figure out the person's hearts. But again, why is this concept of Ve'ahavta le'reacha kamocha in the middle of this chapter of being holy, of do's and don'ts? It's almost like out of place. There's many other places that it could have been put in. Why is the concept Ve'ahavta le'reacha kamocha in the middle of this parasha of Parashat Kedoshim? Before we can explain that, I'd like to learn with you guys a little bit the concept of Ve'ahavta le'reacha kamocha. What does that mean? Rabbi Akiva says, Ze klal gadol b'Torah. This is a big concept in the Torah. In other words, this is one of the biggest foundations that the Torah is based on. One of the biggest foundations. In other words, you can actually, the Gemara goes back and forth about it and says that you can teach the whole Torah on this one concept alone. Ve'ahavta le'reacha kamocha. It's, the concept of not hurting another Jew, the concept of being kind to one another, is on a higher level than Torah study. More than learning Torah. In other words, you can be sitting in a yeshiva, non-stop learning from morning to night. When you go up to the Shamayim, they look at that like, okay, you learned. You read books, you chewed it up. It was your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But they say, but you know what's important over here? How are you with another Jew? Where do we learn that? There's a famous story of Rabbi Akiva. It says, Rabbi Akiva, there's a story of Arba'a Shalu Pardes. You guys know the story? The 4 people that went up to the heavens. Ben Azai, Ben Zoma, Elisha ben Avuya, Rabbi Akiva. And they went up to the heavens, and they wanted some of the biggest Torah secrets to be revealed to them. One went crazy, the other one died, the other one didn't make it. It says, Ben Azai etzitz v'met. Ben Azai died. Ben Zoma etzitz v'nifga. He got hurt. Avuya, Elisha ben Avuya, became a kofir. They called him Acher after that. Rabbi Akiva came back unharmed. So the question goes, you have 4 Torah giants going up to the heavens. 3 come out completely losing. 1 wins. 1 comes back just like he did. So they said, what was the difference about Rabbi Akiva? How come he made it? So anyways, this particular Gemara has many interpretations. Rabbi Yoram Michal Aberjo Zechet Tzadik Livracha has a beautiful chidush over here. He says, the reason why is because Rabbi Akiva was huge in Ve'ahavta le'reacha kamocha. That every single Jew to him was special like Moshe Rabbeinu. Ve'ahavta le'reacha kamocha for Rabbi Akiva was one of the biggest concepts ever. And because he respected and loved every Jew, it didn't matter how much books he learned. Keep in mind, the whole Gemara that we're learning is Rabbi Akiva, all the students, and right now the Omer, the 24,000 students, the 5 students after. You can't even imagine Rabbi Akiva. They're telling us, you know what Rabbi Akiva is welcomed in the Shamayim for? Not for all that Torah. It's incredible if you think about it. It's for how he respected another Jew, how he loved another Jew, how he cared for another Jew. As a matter of fact, there's a story that one time he was in the desert. I don't know if he was doing it bodedut, but he was in the desert. And he sees a person running, completely naked, dark, like charcoal, and yelling and screaming with wood on top of him. He goes to him, what are you doing here? What are you doing? He says, they're chasing me. Who's chasing me? He says, I passed on, and I can't go not here and not there, and they're chasing me. They don't stop chasing me. And he says, so what can I do to help you? He says, I don't know what you can help me, but I have to run. But he says, you know what I heard when I was in the Shamayim? When I was being judged, I heard something. He says, only if his son would say Kaddish on him, this whole thing would go away. Rabbi Akiva hears this. He says, I'm going to help you. He goes and he searches from town to town to find out who is the son of this guy. And eventually he finds him. And the guy is super far away from the religion. And he tells him, listen, I ran into your father and he needs your help. And he's right now being tortured and tormented. He needs you to say Kaddish on him. He goes, what Kaddish? What this? I'm not even holding. You want me to say Kaddish on my father? I'm not even there. He goes to him, please, I'll sit with you, I'll teach you, I'll make you understand. Remember, this is Rabbi Akiva. He goes to him, I'm not interested. He says, what am I going to do? Rabbi Akiva fasted for 40 days. He didn't eat just so he should be matzliach, just so he can be successful, just so this kid can begin to talk to him. After 40 days, he got the Yeshua. And the son, after all the time that he went and he spoke to him, he started to listen to him and he started to teach him. He teach him a little bit about Kaddish. He taught him about Haftarah. He taught him about Birkat Hamazon. Little by little he taught him, and eventually he brought him up to the Sefer Torah, and he was able to say the Kaddish. He was able to say Haftarah, and at that moment, his father was freed up from that torment. Look at the Ahavat Yisrael he had, Rabbi Akiva. V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Later on, that guy became a big Hasid. He became a big tzaddik. But who goes to that extent to bring another Jew back? Who? Which Jew goes out of his comfort zone for more than 5 or 10 minutes to make things right for another Jew? Think about the day and age that we live in. How much out of your comfort zone do you go out in order to perform V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha? I mean, maybe I gave an extreme example of Rabbi Akiva, but just goes to show you. Just goes to show you what's V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Furthermore, says the person's a Jew is not the amount of books that he reads. A Jew is not the amount of halachot that he knows. A Jew is not how smart he knows and what pesukim he knows by heart. A Jew is the heart of a Jew. Rahmana liba baye. Hashem wants the heart. And the heart is not so you can be just unbelievably perfect with God. Hashem doesn't want that relationship. Hashem wants the relationship that you have unbelievable connection with His children. It's like, imagine I come to you and you have some children and I'm super mean to your children, super mean to them, disrespect them, don't do anything to them, and then after that I come to you and say, hey my friend, how you doing? As a father, what would you say? Get out of here. See how you spoke to my son? You saw you spoke to my daughter? You want to come to me? Don't talk to me. First, be respectful to my children. That's God. God says, before you come to me, super holy, tzitziyot, you know, the peot, the hat, the shtrimer, all the costume, whatever it is, and you come, only Hashem, only Hashem, only Hashem, only Hashem. He says, wait. That's okay. But how are you with my children? That's the most important thing. Just like they judged the 4 rabbis in the heaven. They didn't care about the books. They cared about their connection to another Jew. Your connection to another Jew is what's the most important. And how is that relevant? How is that relevant? Because right now we're in a character refinement program. We're in a spiritual and character refinement program. Hashem tells us, I'm giving you 49 days to work on Ben Adam Lechavero. Every single day we're going to talk. The parasha is going to be Ben Adam Lechavero. The whole thing of why you're growing a beard, because the 24,000 students of Rabbi Akiva, they weren't properly with Ben Adam Lechavero. Every single thing that you're going to see in the next few weeks, just put in your mind, Ben Adam Lechavero, everything is between man and man, man and man. You're going to see, you're going to find Hashem is constantly trying to give us lessons between Ben Adam Lechavero. Why? Because He says, before you can come to me on Shavuot and say, Hashem, I'm ready to accept your Torah again. He says, really? Before you come to me, super holy of holies, how are you with my children? And that's the lesson over here. That's the lesson of why Moshe gathered all of Am Yisrael, just like in Matan Torah. What was the lesson of Kedoshim? That all of Am Yisrael had to be there. That the concept of being holy through respecting another Jew is the core of our religion. It's the core of our religion. Many people think that the religion is when you're reading a book, when you every day you finish 200 pages of a book praying to Hashem. That's the religion. They think that's the religion. They think that what it is you open up the book and you say the parashiyot and you know the pesukim. That's the religion. Yes, it is the religion, but it's not the religion. Meaning those are tools to help you learn how to behave and to act with another Jew. Some people, it's like you miss the point. Imagine like you go to a library and you think that the whole thing about library is reading the books. The whole thing of a library is that you turn your back to the library, you step outside, and you live life with the knowledge you put into your head from that library. That's what Torah is. Torah is v'chayitem ba, and you lived by it. You have to live the Torah, not read the Torah, not memorize the Torah. And that's why Moshe Rabbeinu gathered everybody, because the concepts that he was telling them was all about ben adam lechavero, ben adam lechavero. Give you one last thing, and I'll conclude with this. It says, "Ve'ahavta lereacha kamocha." The last word kamocha, if you take the numerical value of kamocha, chaf is 20, mem is 40, vav is 6, and chaf sofit is another 20. Altogether, you have 86. 86 is the exact numerical value of Adonut, of Elokim. When you do Elokim, if you take the Aleph, the Lamed, the He, the Yud, and the Mem, it's going to give you 86. Anytime you can connect a number through Gematria, that means that there's a correlation over there. There's some sort of connection that you can do. So it says Elokim is God's name for Din. Okay? For judgment, strict judgment. Hashem has another name. He has many names, but we're going to learn only two. Elokim is a strict judgment, and then we have the Yud Ke Vav Ke, 26 Chesed. That one is for love, for kindness. So we have over here two names. So it says Ve'afta lerecha kamocha. Kamocha is 86. It says when you're judging your friend, kamocha din, huh? Ani Hashem. I'm God. I'm Chesed. I'll take care of him. Be careful. He says also Ve'afta lerecha kamocha. He says, Ani Hashem. He says, when you're judging your friend, like when you're interacting with your fellow Jew out of judgment, remember that me, Hashem, is Chesed. Make sure that you have the balance between the Din and between the Chesed. This is one of the biggest concepts that we can learn today, and that we learned last week, and we're going to learn next week, and we're going to focus in, because that's what Hashem wants us to learn. If you read the Parasha, if you read Pirkei Avot, if you're reading the Omer, if you do Sefirot, anything that's connected in the next 4 weeks, you're going to realize it's hard to be a better Jew with another Jew. That is the lesson of Parashat Kedoshim. That is the lesson of this week, and that is the lesson of this whole time period. So Be'ezat Hashem, that we merit to Be'emet be true ben adam lechavero. What's true ben adam lechavero? That when you walk into a store, smile. Be a happy Jew. It's okay. It doesn't cost you any money. When a person is down and he has some sort of problem, don't just turn your head and don't pick up your iPhone and be super into your email or your text. Ask him, what's wrong? Maybe I can help. Maybe I know somebody. When somebody is confused about something, give good advice. And if you have money, give them money. Be a good Jew. Look what Rabbi Akiva did for some guy that was not even part of this world. He fasted for 40 days just so his son can begin to maybe think about Judaism. This is the time to care about another Jew. Right now, I can look around the room and I can care for every single one over here. But what happens when you walk into Sarah's tent? Or if you walk into China Bistro? Or you walk to all these places? Are you friendly? Are you nice? Are you open? When somebody comes over to you, do you lend an ear? Are you listening? And Hashem says, when you take care of my children, when you are going to pay attention to my children, when you are able to open up your heart to my children, let me show you what I can do for you. Let me show what I can do for you. We already learned it in a few parashiyot ago, what Hashem does when you respect His children, what He does to your children. Don't forget that lesson. So Be'ezat Hashem, שנזכה לאהבה, לאחדות, ברכה והצלחה in all that we do. שהשם יברך אתכם ושמח אתכם. שבת שלום.